Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Friday, June the 2nd, 2023. Happy Friday. I hope this Friday finds you and your family safe and healthy, and that the needs of you and your family in terms of food, shelter, clothing, as well as health are being met today. Blessings upon those that work in the healthcare field, along with the first responders who every day are trying to save lives, and those that pick up garbage to keep streets and sidewalks clean and disease-free, and make deliveries for our convenience. Double blessings upon those men and women that are out here trying to help rescue, deliver, and recover teenagers and children that are victims of child molestation and pedophilia. The victims also of pornography, child pornography, prostitution, child prostitution, human trafficking, and sex slavery. Double blessings on the men and women that are out here trying to rescue these people and recover them. Curses, double curses on the perpetrators of these things. Double curses on those that profit from these things. And double curses on all the perverts that create the demand of which the other perverts provide the supply. Finally, blessings upon the homeless. There are nearly 600,000 men, women, and children homeless in the United States of America, and millions around the world in similar or worse conditions. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. So last night, there was a basketball game whereby the Denver Nuggets defeated the Miami Heat 104-93 in the game one of the best of 7 NBA championship series. I'm expecting Denver to win this series. I think I said this a couple of days ago. I'm expecting Denver to win this series in 5 games. They're just not only the better team, the more polished team. But what I was looking at last night, and this is one of the joys I get of seeing where the Knicks are right now. There were many years where I would watch other teams in regular NBA games sprint back on defense. And I'd never see the Knicks sprint back on defense. This was several years. This is when we were winning 17 games, 20 games, 21 games a season. And they would never sprint back on defense, and the other teams would always sprint back on defense. And especially if the Knicks were at that time playing a playoff team, playoff level team, you'd see them sprint back on defense. You'd see them reset. You'd see them guard their man. Not so with the Knicks. You'd see them guard the point of attack. Not so with the Knicks. You'd see them rebound. Not so with the Knicks. Well, now, 3 years into the regime of the Don and his crew and Tom Thibodeau and his crew, the Knicks have changed all that. They rebound the basketball at a very high level. They play defense at a very high level. They get back on defense. There are some tweaks, obviously. That's why they're not playing right now. 2 other teams are. So there are things that need to be improved. That's part of the process. Right now, though, the Knicks have finished 3 years of this rebuild. And now, really, in my view, they're ready to take a next step, which is why this summer becomes very important. Again, you can make a move or you can keep the team the same, but there must be progression going forward. I know Ian Begley said, I heard him say on one of the podcasts, somebody's podcast he was on this week, how James Dolan expects steady progression. Well, he's been getting that. And I don't think James Dolan is as trippy about it as people make it seem. They were winning 17, 21, 20 games a year. Now they just won 41, 37, and 47 games. See? So they're definitely a different team. So we must be careful with how you handle everything with the Knicks going forward. James Dolan wise, he just let the Don and them do their work and step out the way, which I think he's going to do. At this point, like I said, we just need some tweaks to get to that next level. Now, one of the things in terms of we talk about here on this channel, the Knicks becoming a long-term sustainable winner. Okay, all the moves designed for that purpose. Long-term sustainable win. That is, again, from solid management that's in place long-term to solid coaching that's in place long-term. Okay, all you Tibbs haters out there, we just have to get over it. I don't care about what y'all think, honestly. But that's what you want when you want long-term sustainable winning. You want a solid coaching staff that's long-term, and you want a management team that's long-term. Therefore, you develop a team with long-term views in mind. Okay? I mentioned again, a couple of days ago, I mentioned Eric Spoelstra has been on the sideline for Miami for at least 15 years, and Malone been on the sideline for them for 8 years. That's what we're talking about. Okay? That's what we're talking about. So You may not like Tibbs' style. You may not like some of the things he does, but he wins. And they will continue to win if they continue in the same trajectory. Now, that in mind, I'm watching these two teams. And as templates, both of these teams, of long-term sustainable winning, they have things that the Knicks can have. Okay? Such as, let's take Miami, for instance. Miami has Jimmy Butler is their star player. He's their guy. Okay? And then behind him is generally Bam Adebayo. They usually also have Tyler Hero there, but he's not. So it's for this run that they made to the finals this year, it's been Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler. And then you have the other three guys, which have been Max Strus, Caleb Martin, and Gabe Vincent, have played out of their minds. Okay, they really have played out of their minds. And then, of course, Miami's bench, led by Kyle Lowry, has also been extremely effective. So that's the template that you want. You have a couple of guys that you know are going to get their 20 points. They're going to get their 10, 15 rebounds. They're going to make their impact on the basketball game. You know that's going to happen. But then you got to have those other guys that step up. Now, in general, again, I've always said, and I still tell y'all, you must think defense first. Look at this score last night, 104-93. That's going to be typical because these are both the best two, obviously, teams left in the NBA right now. And so they're going to play a high-level defense on every possession. I think the average score is like 116 in the NBA. 115, 116 is the average offensive scoring output. Here, look at 104-93. You're going to get games like that. So to win championships, you must focus on defense. Okay, and that's why I'm glad we have Tom Thibodeau as our coach. With all of his flaws, that's his focus, rebounding and defense. And the Knicks can do that. Okay, we have players that are able to do that. So with Denver, they have the Joker, obviously MVP, and then they got Murray. You know, they have Murray at the point guard spot. Then they have three players that are really good as the third, fourth, and fifth guys. That is the two forwards. Porter at the small forward at 6'10", and then Aaron Gordon at the power forward at 6'9", and then Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Now, if you look at both of these teams, Miami in their starting line, they drafted Bam Adebayo. Okay, they drafted or signed Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, and they signed Caleb Martin, who wasn't even drafted. Okay, and they developed them. Look at Denver. They drafted Murray. They drafted the Joker. Okay, they drafted Michael Porter Jr. Then they signed Aaron Gordon as a free agent. They signed Kentavious. I think they got Kentavious Caldwell-Pope in a trade or free agency. But they strategically picked those guys. They also have a solid bench. The Denver Nuggets does, of course, and they play high-level defense. Both of these teams. So the Knicks, their really two top guys are Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson. Okay, there's the two top guys. Now, Brunson, I think we can agree, he's going to bring it every night. Playoffs, he's already proven he's going to do that. He's already done it this year with the Knicks. He did it last year with Dallas. He's going to show up in the playoffs. He's going to bring it every night. Julius is inconsistent, especially, I think that's even saying, I think we're being nice, but I'm saying in the playoffs, he's inconsistent. Okay? He's not, we don't expect him to be MVP Joker, right? Or Murray, Jamal Murray. But he has to show up every night. Look at Bam Adebayo. He shows up every night. Every night. He's a leg breaker, but he's there every night. Okay? And Jimmy Butler is our Jalen Brunson. You know he's gonna try to kill you every night. He's gonna play a high-level game, NBA, all-NBA level game every night. We need that. And that's right now, in terms of Julius Randle, is the question mark. Okay, that's the big question mark. Can he become a player that will show up every night in the playoffs? The Knicks are now a playoff team. Okay, they're a playoff team right now. So next year, with this same team, they're going to be top 6 in the East again. So that's not a question anymore. The question now is, can they get to the next level? And in getting to the next level, one of the things we need, if we're going to have Julius Randle, one of our top two guys, he's got to show up in the playoffs. He's got to show up consistently every night. He's got to be there. Okay? He hasn't. Then you have your third, fourth, and fifth guys. Again, Miami surprised everybody being the AC this year, going to the finals. And one of the main reasons they did that, aside from we talked about Jimmy Butler, talked about Bam Adebayo, but it was Max Strus playing out of his mind. Okay? Caleb Martin just made himself a lot of money. He's playing out of his mind. And Gabe Vincent's playing out of his mind. Their third, fourth, and fifth guys overperformed. Okay? For Denver, you expect Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, but they really are coming on like gangbusters, as these playoffs are going on. Their third, fourth, and fifth guys are really good. Not, they don't have to be all-stars. They have to be there, though. They have to show up. For the Knicks, it's RJ, it's Grimes, it's Mitch Rob. Different players, different positions, different situations, but the third, fourth, and fifth guys nonetheless. You're expecting Mitchell Robinson to get you offensive rebounds and to man the paint on defense. Defense being important. He's the anchor on the defensive side of the basketball. Then, of course, you're looking for RJ to be more consistent. We know he's got the heart. There's no doubt. RJ has heart. He plays big in big games. Okay, the Garden, the lights don't scare him. Okay, he just needs to be more consistent, and I believe he will. The question is, how long will it take? Will it be another 2 seasons, another 3 seasons before he actually gets to that consistent level of high-level basketball in the playoffs? He's going to get there, in my view. It's just a question of, do you want to wait? That's the question. Do you want to wait? And the question is not answered. If it was me, I'd wait. But I don't know if the Knicks management is. See, I've been saying this all along. There's a high probability that either Julius Randle or RJ Barrett is traded this summer. There's a high probability of that. And the reason is because the Knicks are really close and because they just need a tweak, a one-player move, somebody more polished in either one of those positions that's going to get us to the next level. Okay? Grimes, I'm very high on Quentin Grimes. Very high on Quentin Grimes. I believe Grimes could be an all-star. I believe Grimes is Allen Houston 2.0. He's already elite on the defensive end of the basketball. He can put it on the floor. He's a 3-level scorer. He can do 40, 50, 90. That's him. 50, 40, 90 guy. That's him. 50, 40, 90. He could be that. Okay? So that's how I'm not worried about Quentin Grimes. Okay? And actually, like I said, I'm not worried about RJ in the long term. The question is the short term. Okay, so for the Knicks, the question marks are in their top 2 guys, which is Brunson and Randle. You know what you're going to get from Brunson. Very confident Brunson's going to do what he did this year, next year, maybe even more efficiently, which is crazy. But Brunson is in his prime right now, and I'm expecting that play to continue. Julius Randle is going to have nights where he takes over a game, and he's going to have nights, as we've seen, where he loses a game for you. Shooting too many threes, not giving the crap on defense, okay, not giving his all, and costing the team, okay, and having a general bad attitude when he's not shooting well, okay. That can happen. And then, of course, like I said, he's worth 8 wins a year. Just him, his win share is at 8, so he can take over about 8 times a year and just win a game for you. That's big time, okay, that's big time. So, but playoffs has been another story. Obvious. So you can blame his ankle. You can blame Mitch Rob not being there against Atlanta. You can blame a lot of things. Bottom line is he's been in 2 playoffs in 3 years, and he hasn't gotten it done. Okay? Not at the level you'd expect somebody in his position to get done. Not an all-NBA, all-star player. Okay? So the Knicks have decisions to make. As far as the 3, 4, 5 rotation, I'm not worried about it, honestly. I think the Knicks, if they, they continue the development, all of these kids are going to develop. RJ's going to get better. Grimes is going to get better. Like I said, I'm not worried about those 2 guys. RJ is a question of how long do you want to wait, for him. I'm not worried about Mitchell Robinson. He's going to be a monster next year, too. Not worried about that. Yes, we like him to get a little jump hook. We like him to hit his foul shots. I'm sure he'll be working on that this summer, but I'm not worried about him. Defensively is what we need, okay, for him. Now, we talked about the possibility of obtaining the Kristaps Porzingis. That would change everything depending on if they obtained him and who they obtained him for. If they just added him to the Knicks, and like I mentioned, and put Mitchell Robinson on the bench and sent out Emmanuel Quickly, Fournier, and Hartenstein, now you're going to have a guy that will score in the playoffs and has played with Brunson. He becomes a second option. Then Julius becomes better offensively because he becomes the third option. And as a third option, one of the reasons I feel Julius Randle does not give his all on defense all the time. And I think it's open for everybody to see. I mean, you've had Jeff Van Gundy, you've had Kendrick Perkins. You had a lot of people noticing he just gives up on defense sometimes. But he's conserving his energy. See? And some of y'all blame Thibodeau, but you don't know the NBA. Why do I say that? When you have an all-NBA, an all-star player, you don't yell at him publicly. I keep telling y'all that. Some of y'all just don't get it, but you don't do that in the NBA. Okay, you don't. He will yell at Deuce McBride. He could yell at Quentin Grimes. Young players he could yell at. But when you get to the status of the NBA where you're a $100 million dude, you're an all-star dude, you're an all-NBA dude, you are not going to be berated like that in public. It's just not going to happen. Not with Tibbs, not with anybody. Okay? It just doesn't happen. All right? That's number one. Number two, Tibbs trusts his players in the sense that if you're healthy and you want to stay on the floor and you're Julius Randle, he will let you. He's not going to pull you unless you ask to come out. He shows complete confidence in his top players. Same with Brunson. Brunson came after some games where he said, I sucked. I need to be taken out. He say that. Okay? That's because Tibbs leaves that up to him. And he's got the IQ to decide whether he should do it or not. If he's hurt, that's a different story. They get the medical staff involved. But that's why, if you're going to get a guy like that, you need to make him a third option. And like I said, if Kristaps Porzingis is here, he becomes a third option. There's very few situations where you're going to be able to keep Julius Randle and R.J. Barrett and get a better shooter, better scorer, better basketball player, and now Julius becomes a third option. It's hard. I don't know how that's going to happen. I more than likely think that either R.J. or Julius will get traded along with Emmanuel Quickly. But if that was the case, if you had Kristaps Porzingis next to Mitchell Robinson, I think you still got something there because now you got somebody that's going to be there in the playoffs. He's going to be there, okay? Higher IQ, better jump shooter. He's going to be there, okay? So, and then, of course, I mentioned Grant. I mentioned Siakam. These guys show up in the playoffs. They just do. They've already shown it. Siakam's got a ring, okay? Grant was with Denver when they was in the bubble pushing for the finals. They'll show up in the playoffs. Okay, so there's guys like that. Of course, we know Mikal Bridges shows up in the playoffs. There's guys like that. We need that from Julius Randle. We need him to show up. This is now year 4. It's time to make that move to the next level, which means you now are a team that's a playoff team. When they talk preseason team for the playoffs in the NBA coming this September, the Knicks are going to be one of the 8 teams they know going to make the playoffs, probably in the top 6, as I mentioned. Okay? Now, how far are you going? How far are you going? Well, that depends on what they do this summer. Okay? The 3, 4, and 5 guys for the Knicks, I'm very confident in them. All 3 of them. I'm very confident that they're all going to be better. If we can get, and I'm very confident in Jalen Brunson. What we need to find out is, can we get consistent, be there, total effort from Julius Randle in the playoffs? That's the question we need to know. If we don't know the answer to that question, I think they should trade him. You hear what I just said? So if they don't know, if they're not completely confident they can get that from him in the playoffs, they need to trade. See, because if James Dolan is looking for that next step, and you're the Dom. You got to decide now. Can Julius help me make that next step? Maybe he can. Maybe he can't. But you got to make a decision. This is why the Don gets the big bucks. Who can he help you make it? You know what Jalen Brunson going to do. You've seen Julius Randle for 2 playoff series now. You think he's going to do the same thing in a 3rd playoff series? Are you willing to wait? We'll see. Okay? But to me, that's how close the Knicks are right now. That's how close they are. They got their Jimmy Butler Joker type guy in Brunson. They need the Batman. They need the Batman for the playoffs. Okay? That's what they need. They got the 3, 4, 5 guys. I really believe if you had the top 2 guys playing the way they should, like, for example, if Julius Randle was averaging 25 and 10 in the playoffs, okay, if he was averaging 25 and 10 in the playoffs, you would have seen the Knicks would have won. But they may still be playing, but at the very least, you'd see better performances from all the guys around him. Again, the top guys are guys that make all the other guys on the floor better. So ask yourself a question. Take the 25 and 10 off the table. Does Julius Randle make the other 4 guys better? If he does not, they'll probably look to trade him. Because this ain't year 3. This is year 4. Okay? And that's why I believe Ian Begley mentioned James Dolan's looking for some results. They're right there at the door right now. Okay? Now, he's going to leave it up to the Don, but the Don got to make some decisions. What you going to do now? Like I said, I wanted to say this is very important too. As much as I hate it, and I do hate it, if the Knicks were going to trade R.J. Barrett and get a polished, like a Jeremy Grant at that spot and still have Julius Randle, they'd still move up. They'd still be Eastern Conference Finals threats. Just that move. Because, again, not that R.J. is not going to be good. I believe he is. But Grant is ready now. He's polished now. Okay? He's ready to help you get there now. And this is year 4. Okay? To me, you're dealing with a 5-year plan. When you're an NBA team looking to rebuild, if you're going to do it right now, and you want long-term sustainable winning, you want a 5-year plan. Okay? You want a 5-year plan. So for like Oklahoma City, their 5-year plan started when they traded for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. That's why some of y'all pining for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. It ain't going to happen. The 5-year plan there is built around him. Okay? And they're now, this year, they were knocking on the playoff door. That's you expect. And I believe if they can get 50 games out of Chet Holmgren next year, they'll be in the playoffs. See? That's the 5-year plan. The 5-year plan for New Orleans really started when they got Zion Williamson. This is going to be his 3rd season. Or his 4th season. One of them. But, some of y'all still pining for him. You're not getting him. Because if you can get him to 270 pounds, I know it sounds crazy, but they're top 4 in the West. You're just not even a player. Your weight, you're 20 pounds, 20 or 30 pounds from being top 4 in the West. And this will be his 4th season. Okay? That's what you're looking for. Okay? And their progress was retarded a little bit because of his weight issues and his injury issues. Okay? But they're still there. And that's why they're going to keep him. If he can get down to some decent weight, that's how good they are. They really are that good. And they were really pushing, again, for the playoffs without him. But if you add him to that mix, they're really good. So that's where the Knicks are. The Knicks are now going into year 4. And we don't have a Zion Williamson right now. We don't have that. But we have a team. And we got a really good pickup in Jalen Brunson here. So we got a nice bench. Critical moves coming up right now. So here we are, June the 2nd. The draft is on June 22nd, 20 days from now. Okay? You might see trades start happening that night. Or July 1st, where free agency starts. This is going to be a very interesting summer. I've been still hearing all of these noise about Donovan Mitchell wanting to come to the Knicks. Okay. The Knicks just eliminated Donovan Mitchell and the Cleveland Cavaliers in the first round. Part of the reason for that is because Cleveland did not have good defense at the point of attack. Part of the reason for that is Donovan Mitchell. So those of you pining for him to come to New York, I'm wondering, where is he going to play? Next to Brunson, who's already our weak link on defense? See, the star power is cool, but you got to have fit or you're going to get disappointed. Mitchell doesn't fit. If you trade Brunson, oh, okay. But then you're back with square one again. So Mitchell doesn't fit. Not every guy that's all NBA or superstar fits. And I'm not one of these that just believe in throwing all of the talent together and somehow it works out. It doesn't work that way. Not for long-term sustainable winning. Okay? But this summer, you're going to hear Donovan Mitchell, Kristaps Porzingis, Jeremy Grant, Pascal Siakam. You're going to hear noise about them and many other players. We need fit. As far as I'm concerned, the guys I mentioned, they fit. Just tweaks. We don't need to replace the whole team. And somebody was out there talking about getting all these rookies and first-year and second-year players. We're in year 3 going into year 4 now. We're past rebuild in terms of early part of it. We're looking for them last 2 years of the 5-year plan to get us to the finals. That's where we are right now. Okay? So these moves, very important. Very important this summer. Especially with the new CBA coming. Very important. Okay? So it's going to be an interesting summer. But I really trust the management of the Knicks to make the right move. Can they make a mistake? Yes. But I'm not one to just jump on them because they make a mistake. Some of y'all just, have sad lives and you have to do that. This is a competent management team. For the most part, they're going to get it right. Okay? For the most part. But this is a real critical juncture right here. Very critical. So it's going to be interesting to see. But the 3, 4, and 5 guys for the Knicks, I'm cool with. We just really need Robin. We need Robin to show up. We'll see what happens. Enjoy your weekend. Shalom.